Pam Bondi, the former Attorney General of Florida, is no stranger to tough conversations and high-pressure situations. But when she recently appeared on a talk show and faced a particularly combative host, no one expected the way she would handle it. What happened next left the entire audience stunned. From the moment the interview began, it was clear that the host had an agenda. With a sharp tone and loaded questions, they attempted to put Bondi on the defensive, challenging her record, questioning her past decisions, and even interrupting her responses. But Pam Bondi, known for her calm demeanor and razor-sharp legal mind, wasn't about to be rattled. Instead of matching the host's aggression, Bondi chose a different approach, one that instantly shifted the dynamic of the conversation. She remained composed, speaking with clarity and confidence, refusing to be drawn into a shouting match. Every time the host attempted to cut her off, she waited patiently, then resumed speaking with an unwavering voice. At one point, the host attempted to misrepresent one of her past statements, suggesting that she had contradicted herself on a major issue. Without hesitation, Bondi smiled and calmly said, "I appreciate the opportunity to clarify that." She then proceeded to break down the facts, citing her own words and providing irrefutable evidence that exposed the host's misleading claim. The audience watched in silence as Bondi skillfully turned the tables. The host, who had started the interview with clear confidence, now appeared visibly uncomfortable. They struggled to regain control of the narrative, but Bondi's steady responses made it impossible for them to twist the conversation in their favor. Then came the moment that truly stunned everyone. When the host, clearly frustrated, accused her of dodging a question, Bondi leaned forward slightly, looked them straight in the eye and said, "I have answered your question directly and respectfully. If you are looking for a soundbite, I'm not here to provide one, but if you're interested in a real discussion, I'm more than happy to continue." The room fell silent. The audience, sensing the shift in power, broke into applause. The host, taken aback, hesitated for a moment before awkwardly moving on to the next topic. But by that point, it was clear. Pam Bondi had completely dismantled the host's attempt to undermine her. What made her response so powerful wasn't just her words, it was the way she delivered them. She didn't resort to insults or condescension. She didn't raise her voice. Instead, she relied on intelligence, poise, and undeniable facts. And in doing so, she demonstrated exactly why she has been such a formidable force throughout her career. By the end of the interview, the atmosphere in the room had changed. The host, who had started with an aggressive approach, was now noticeably subdued. The audience had witnessed something rare in today's media landscape, a guest who refused to be bullied, who countered hostility with grace, and who left the interview not just unshaken but victorious. As the segment wrapped up, even some of the host's own viewers took to social media to acknowledge what they had seen. Comments flooded in, praising Bondi's ability to stay cool under pressure and calling out the host for their lack of professionalism. One user wrote, "I may not always agree with her, but you have to respect the way she handled that. She made her point without ever losing her composure." This moment was more than just a viral exchange. It was a masterclass in handling confrontation. In an era where political and media discourse often devolves into shouting matches, Pam Bondi showed that strength doesn't come from volume or aggression. It comes from knowledge, confidence, and the ability to stand firm in the face of adversity. Her response didn't just leave the host stunned, it left an impact on everyone watching. And it served as a reminder that sometimes the most powerful way to win an argument is simply to refuse to play the game. As the interview continued, it became evident that the host was scrambling to regain control. They attempted to pivot to another topic, hoping to catch Bondi off guard. But Bondi, ever prepared, responded with the same level of clarity and precision. One of the most intense moments came when the host attempted to question her ethics, suggesting that her legal decisions in the past had been politically motivated. Without missing a beat, Bondi leaned back, took a brief pause, and then said, "If you're implying that my decisions were based on anything other than the law, then you're either misinformed or intentionally misleading your audience. Which is it?" The question caught the host off guard. They stammered for a second, clearly unprepared for such a direct counter, the audience murmured, sensing that the narrative was slipping away from the host's control. Bondi continued, "Let's be clear. Every decision I've made throughout my career has been based on the law, the Constitution, and what is right for the people I served. If you want to have a real discussion about facts, I'm more than willing, but I won't sit here and entertain baseless accusations." The host, now visibly flustered, tried to steer the conversation elsewhere, but it was too late. The damage was done. The audience had already seen the power shift, and social media was already lighting up with reactions. As the interview neared its conclusion, Bondi delivered one final unforgettable remark. The host, clearly defeated but still trying to save face, asked, "Do you think you handled everything in your career perfectly?" Bondi smiled, nodded slightly, and responded, "No one is perfect. But what defines a leader isn't perfection. It's integrity. It's standing by your decisions, learning from challenges, and always striving to do what's right. If that's the standard we're holding people to, then I have no regrets." The audience erupted into applause. Even those who may not have agreed with her politically couldn't deny the strength and composure she had displayed. As she exited the studio, reporters and attendees outside were already buzzing about what had just unfolded. The host, who had likely expected to make headlines by challenging Bondi, instead found themselves at the center of criticism. Viewers took to Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to dissect the exchange, with many praising Bondi's ability to handle the situation with grace and intelligence. News outlets picked up on the viral moment, with some commentators calling it one of the most masterful takedowns in recent interview history. Others used it as an example of how public figures should respond to media bias or hostile questioning, by staying calm, collected, and prepared. This wasn't just a win for Pam Bondi, it was a demonstration of what true leadership looks like. While others may resort to anger or defensiveness in difficult moments, she showed that the best response to hostility is confidence, control, and an unshakable command of the facts. Her response didn't just leave the host stunned, it left an impression on everyone watching. It was a reminder that in a world full of noise, the most powerful voice is the one that speaks with wisdom, not volume. In the days following the interview, the internet exploded with reactions. Clips of the exchange flooded social media, racking up millions of views. Supporters praised Bondi's composure, while even some of her critics admitted that she had handled the situation masterfully. Political commentators weighed in, with some calling it a textbook example of how to respond to media bias. One analyst remarked, "This wasn't just an interview, this was a case study in how to take control of a conversation. Pam Bondi didn't just survive the confrontation, she owned it." Meanwhile, the talk show host faced growing backlash. Viewers criticized their approach, with many accusing them of being more interested in provoking Bondi than having a fair and balanced discussion. Some even called for the network to address the host's behavior, pointing out that it reflected poorly on their credibility. Amid the media frenzy, Bondi remained characteristically unbothered. When asked in a follow-up interview about the incident, she simply smiled and said, "I've spent my career standing up for what's right. If that makes some people uncomfortable, so be it." Her words only fueled the admiration of those who had watched her dismantle the host's tactics. She wasn't gloating. She wasn't seeking validation. She was simply reaffirming the principles that had guided her throughout her career: integrity, preparedness, and an unwavering commitment to the truth. Even as the controversy surrounding the host continued, Bondi moved forward, undistracted by the noise. Her handling of the interview only reinforced her reputation as a formidable presence in the political and legal world. And while some may have expected her to be rattled by the encounter, she walked away stronger than ever. The moment served as a powerful reminder that true leadership isn't about shouting the loudest or winning every argument. It's about standing firm, staying composed, and letting the truth speak for itself. And in that interview, Pam Bondi didn't just win the debate, she set a new standard for how to handle the toughest of confrontations. Her response didn't just leave the host stunned. It left a lasting impression on everyone who watched, proving once again that real power lies in staying calm, staying sharp, and never backing down from the truth. As the media continued to dissect the viral interview, analysts and commentators replayed the moment over and over, breaking down Bondi's technique. Experts in debate and public speaking pointed out the key strategies she had used: patience, precision, and an unshakable command of the facts. One media expert commented, "What Bondi did was brilliant. She didn't take the bait. She didn't match hostility with hostility. Instead, she neutralized the host's aggression by staying calm and responding with facts. That's why she won, because she controlled the conversation without ever losing her composure." On social media, hashtags like @Connor Bondi Masterclass and Stay Calm Like Bondi began trending. Even those who didn't typically follow politics found themselves drawn to the exchange, admiring how she had turned an attempted ambush into a moment of triumph. Some users even shared the clip as a lesson in confidence and professionalism, encouraging others to study her approach. Meanwhile, the network hosting the interview faced growing scrutiny. Viewers questioned whether the host had crossed the line with their aggressive tactics. Some pointed out that while tough questioning is a part of journalism, there's a difference between holding someone accountable and attempting to corner them unfairly. The controversy forced the network to release a statement, though they stopped short of acknowledging any wrongdoing. Bondi, however, had already moved on. She wasn't interested in gloating or dwelling on the moment. When asked again about the interview in another media appearance, she gave a measured response. "I believe in open discussions, even difficult ones. But there's a difference between a conversation and an ambush. My goal was simply to stay focused on the facts and speak the truth. That's what I did, and I have no regrets." Her words resonated with many, reinforcing the idea that real strength isn't about overpowering someone. It's about staying firm in what you believe and refusing to be intimidated. The moment had become bigger than just a single interview. It became a lesson in how to handle pressure, how to face opposition with confidence, and how to win a debate without ever raising your voice. It showed that in today's world, where arguments often descend into chaos, true power comes from the ability to remain steady, no matter how intense the situation. Months later, people were still referring to the interview as one of the most compelling moments in recent media history. It was replayed in discussions about leadership, media bias, and how public figures should handle confrontational interviews. Pam Bondi had not only stunned the host, she had set an example of how to stay poised under fire, an example of how to turn an attack into an opportunity, and most importantly, an example of how truth and composure will always triumph over aggression and bias. And that's why this moment will be remembered, not just as a viral interview, but as a masterclass in handling pressure with grace, intelligence, and undeniable strength.